This is Movies, a podcast about the act of cinema. And with me today, of course, it's Hans. Now, Hans, you are quite the expert on all of these racially spicy, hot topic movies. And this was your pick, wasn't it? This was your selection?
Yeah. I've been meaning to watch this for a while, so I figured it would be a good pick, especially since we have a animation theme going for the last, well, maybe not the last episode, but last couple of episodes where we cover those Cartoon Network movies.
Well, this might be the first Disney movie that we've covered on the show. Like the first proper Disney movie. Obviously, there are Weinstein movies we covered. There's Miramax films. We're talking about 1946's Song of the South, which takes place during the Reconstruction era. And it has been nudged out of Disney's collective content archive for controversial reasons.
For dumb reasons, I would
For
say.
really dumb reasons.
Yeah.
Let's be frank here. This movie is an important movie in the history of diversity and black actors in Hollywood, and they have covered it up because they're uncomfortable with the presentation of those black characters in the movie.
I was very surprised at as how much I didn't think it was offensive at all. And maybe that's saying a lot about me, but I we're talking about a movie that's set in 1861 to 1865 was what that Reconstruction era happened. So what's so offensive about the portrayal? That's how they used to talk. I'm assuming, I wasn't alive then, but I'm assuming that someone from the South, after slavery ended, let's say, that's how I would expect them to act and speak. So why was the portrayal racist? Also, they're portrayed as like the good people from the movie, you know? Like you have the white lady who was kind of a jerk. He's just a bitchy mom who's kind of mean to Uncle Remus, who's a great character, by the way. And I know that the trope of the, what's it, the
Uncle
magic,
Tom, what?
no, the magic,
The
what is,
magical Negro?
yeah, that trope supposedly started there. But he's a great character. He's very kind to the kids. He gives them advice. He tells them stories. He cares for them. So I started looking into why this was like first banned or blacklisted, or why they haven't put it out, and they've already said that it's never going to be on Disney Plus, which
Oh,
is
wow. What a
which is
travesty.
which is probably not a great move, especially with how good that's doing, right? But I'm just baffled, and I think it might just be one of those cases that we talk about so much of modern day sensibilities applied to something that happened what 150 years ago, and just trying to apply politics from the 2020 or the 2000s into something that has nothing to do with that. It's just something that is just like a very, I think, innocent portrayal of those times. I didn't find anything offensive, and I was trying to get offended by something. Like I went in with okay, so this has been banned, it's been blacklisted, you're not even allowed to mention it, right? Let's see why, and let's try to think with like a very sensitive mind of like this will be offensive somehow. And I couldn't find like something that made me even think like, oh fuck, this is, because yeah, they speak differently, they're dressed differently, they don't wear those fancy freely dressed like clothes that the boy wears or whatever. But what about their behavior is offensive? What about their behavior is like
I think it comes down
outrageous?
to there's an intersection here where there are companies that will hide things that are racially insensitive for the time, and I'm thinking things like from the Walt Disney Company. There are certain cartoons, I guess, where Donald Duck is a Nazi, and actually that would probably fall into the same category as this because they're making fun of the Nazis with that. They're not sympathetic to the Nazis. But there's obviously things like Hugo Boss working for the Nazis. You would want to bury that. You would want to hide that with the modern sensibilities of today.
Right.
So there are things like that. But this This is just, we're not comfortable with how reality was, and that we presented reality as we had seen it in 1940 of the Reconstruction era. I mean, what do you want them to behave like? What do you want them to be? It's the hidden figuresing of American history, where everybody was a secret genius and they were instrumental in how things unfolded. Sometimes a character is just a good guy or a bad guy, or they're nice, they're likable. They don't have to be this deep, intellectual, complex character. Sometimes they just want to sing zippity doo dah, zippity
Yeah,
a over and over.
because that song makes you feel good when you sing it. Walking down whatever village or whatever. I just and I made the mistake of and I think I've never been much of a letterbox person. I review things and I enter my ratings or whatever, but I never really go into their looking for reviews from people that I don't follow. And I made the mistake of reading through some of those, and it's just a lot of
People who didn't watch it,
either that,
probably.
yeah, because there's some that are just like, oh, I made it 10 minutes in and this is outrageous and this is, and it's like, so you didn't even finish it, you don't even know what the movie's about, you don't even know what the portrayal actually is, you saw that someone is from that time and that race, and that's enough for you to give it a half a star. And it's like that is not even a good way of reviewing anything.
How
But
many of
then
those reviews said the word yikes? That's what I want to measure. How many say yikes? How many say big yikes? Ooh, big yikes. Not a good look, my dude.
but it's also yeah, I don't know, it's funny that because yeah, if you think about those Donald Duck being a Nazi or whatever, Donald Duck is never the hero. Donald Duck is always like the clumsy dummy, right? So
Clumsy racist and Roger Rabbit calling Daffy Duck the N-word. How about we talk about that? Why don't
yeah,
anybody want to speak up about that? Disney will say, no, he said something piano dogs, not the N word. You fucking liars. And that's on Disney Plus. I bet you that scene's on Disney Plus. Nah, we all know what he really said there, because animators are perverts and degenerates, and they
like
sneak stuff in like that.
even the Bugs Bunny thing, right? Where he's like Asian in one of them, and like
He's tucking
he,
his penis between his legs and
yeah,
sucking off Elmer Fudd.
yeah. Or you know how they made fun of Japan, I think it was in one episode, and he's like stereotypical Japanese with like the glasses and the teeth or whatever.
He looks like Eric Hayden in the World Peace 2 trailer. Have you watched that?
Yeah, nothing about this I think was even played as or as trying to make them look bad or a caricature. Like everyone was kind of a caricature of who those people were supposed to be, even the whiteys on it. So I find it so funny that that just because black people were portrayed as they were in the 1800s, this is seen as like blasphemous, as like offensive. It's like, what do you, so what do you expect? You wanted Disney's Roots? Is that what you wanted? Where they're just being lashed, and instead of Miss Sally telling Uncle Remus to please don't talk to my children again because they missed their own party, which is as rough as this movie gets. Uh, Instead of that, what you wanted her to beat him up with lashes and like humiliating it from like I don't understand what
Let me tell
portrayal
you
you're
something.
expecting.
If modern audiences were introduced to the original Roots today, it would get the same treatment as Song of the South. No question about it. Because there's a similar thing. This is actually what got me into checking out Song of the South. Is I did check out Roots, and Roots was a big blind spot of mine. Roots is one of the top rated programs in American history. At the time it premiered, there were about 7 or 8 episodes in the top 20 or so of the all-time most watched programs. Roots occupied about half of those slots. So Roots was a very important late 20th century miniseries, and I had never checked it out. I randomly bought the series on VHS off of eBay for $3. I got 9 tapes or something like that. They're just sitting occupying my shelf at the moment. There's way too many. And I watched that, and I was very impressed with the ability to transition lead characters every 2 episodes or so, every 2 installments or so. And it got me in a very Civil War Reconstruction era mood. So I went and I checked out Song of the South, which was actually recommended to me on archive.org. That's where I watched it. How did you
Me
watch
too.
this movie?
Yeah, archive.org.
Okay.
There's multiple versions.
There
Uh,
are, and I bought it too. So there's a. I'm gonna. Hopefully, this does not damage the guy's business and only helps because he sells things illegally here. He's like the black market for rare movies. I got the
nice.
Keep from him on a very professional, nice Blu-ray. I got the original Star Wars trilogy without any of the goofy special effects, and now I have Song of the South on Blu-ray, and it comes with a 4K restoration, which I would not recommend, and then a scan of the 35 millimeter print, which is a little dirty. You get the specs and everything, the hairs on the reel, but it looks good and it looks great. It's as crisp and it looks as good as it gets, basically.
And special features is the Walt Disney Sieg Heiling for 30 minutes.
The special features on that disc are actually a little dodgy. There's a George Floyd documentary on there, so. But I would buy it if you want to own this for archival reasons. I would go to Showtown Apparel. I think it might just be showtownapparel.com. Check that out. You have to create an account in order to be able to access the web store where he has all sorts of goodies there. So I would do that. And I really enjoyed this movie. Actually,
Yeah.
I thought it was not only a very pleasant children's film. I thought the cartoon interstitials were really funny. The Briar Rabbit
Yeah.
shorts were very good. And if there is anything like racist to cite, it's maybe his character is the Briar Rabbit. I don't know.
I mean, I hope. I actually haven't looked up who did the voices. Hopefully they were African American
Oh
too,
yeah, no, no,
because
they were, they were.
okay. So they employed Africa. If this was played by someone in blackface is Uncle Remus, and then someone in blackface is the Mommy. I don't know. I don't remember what her name was.
Hattie McDaniel. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's actually quite a few Oscar winners in
Yeah.
this movie that are black. Hattie McDaniel's one of them. James Baskett, who plays Uncle Remus, I believe he was given a posthumous Oscar
Yeah.
for just his career. And the song of the South, Zippity Doodah, Zippity A, won Best Song at the Academy Awards. This was a very landmark film when it comes to, especially during this time in the 1940s, diversity for showbiz. And when you take a look into the history of that, and you do see movies like this, and movies like this being rewarded at the Oscars, it kind of makes you rethink. For me anyway, it makes you rethink. Well, we have this perspective that the 1940s were this very volatile era, and everybody was just so racist and miserable and violent. I don't know about that. I don't think so. If this is getting made, first of all, this is being given Academy Awards, and the black actors specifically are being awarded during that time. I think it's very simple to fall into that mindset of like everyone in the past was bad,
Yeah.
or the majority of the people were bad, and that's not necessarily the case.
They were both very positive about it too. I have a quote here from Hattie McDaniel, where she said, "If I had for one moment considered any part of the picture degrading or harmful to my people, I would have never appear in it." And then James Baskett said, "I believe that a certain groups are doing my race more harm in seeking to create dissension that can ever possibly the song, come out of the Song of the South." So if they were okay with it, not just because they were getting paid, but obviously, they read the script before they signed up for it, and they were also already successful actors before they signed up for this movie. Like, no, they were not forced. They weren't held by a gunpoint to be hired for this movie. The modern day outreach to it is just, again, internet Twitter brain, right? Where you're putting whatever politics you've convinced yourself that you believe in 2020 or 2000s, and applying it to something that has absolutely nothing to do with it, and thinking that just by portraying someone as a caricature without realizing that every white character is also kind of, you have the neighbors who are just like these redneck shitheads, little kids. That's kind of a stereotype, right? Uneducated whites, and that's fine. But as long as uh the minority is not portrayed as like, but that's not even, I was gonna say not portrayed as an angel. That's not even true because the good people in the movie are African American, all of them. Even at the end, they're all singing outside of their house for the boy to get better after being hilariously gored by that bull that was not interested about being on camera at all. I don't know if you remember that scene where they shoot the bull like running, and then where the boy is just laying there and the bull is just in the background, just kind of like, yeah, like I don't care. Like this is whatever. Like they didn't even show any of the attack or whatever, but they all come together and they start singing outside of the house, and Uncle Remus wakes the boy up by telling a story. And I'm so confused by the outrage that something where they're portrayed as like the good people, and maybe that whole, you know, magical Negro thing, fine, but offensive or like blacklistable. I why wouldn't you? I went to Splash Mountain when I was 12, and that shit was awesome. I had no idea they have anything to do with it. It was just like, this ride is great. And I read that they removed it from the American Disneyland because it's offensive, and they replaced it with Princess and the Frog, or one of
What
those
was hold
modern
on? What was the overlap with Splash Mountain there?
Splash Mountain was using characters from the animation. So the rabbit, the bear, and the fox were part of the ride. And the ride had like imagery from the movie. I don't think that Uncle Remus or any of the human characters were in it, but the bunny and the other two characters were part of the ride. And it was like just a cool roller coaster ride that ended in like a long, watery fall. But I learned today that they removed it because it's offensive because of this movie. They opened it in Tokyo's Disneyland because
Well,
they don't give a shit.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
this is only banned in America. If you go over
Right.
to Japan, they're
Yeah.
still celebrating it. They put it out on a laser disc and a VHS tape. They don't care about the other countries. They only care about America's opinion. So they know it's probably not as bad as how, you know, when you continually say something, and that's just the history of it. After a while, people will believe that and never investigate, and it's very difficult to track down a copy of this if you're not someone who's even a little bit internet savvy.
Yeah.
If you are, then you can just go online, you can find it in 5 minutes flat. But you know, you're not going to find it at your video store, you're not going to find it on Amazon.com or anything like that. So I think the legacy of this film being, oh, it's racist, you know, and people repeating that is really what has dominated the opinion of the film more than anything else. Now, if you want to see a racist film that's also a good film, is Birth of a Nation. That one has the reputation that it has earned the reputation that this one has without question. This one's not racist. I'm sorry. It's just not. It's not. You
It's
know,
not.
what do you expect them to be? Mathematicians
Yeah.
in the South in the 1800s, right after the Civil War? Sorry.
Yeah. Very elegant and eloquent and very,
But this
no.
is also the Reddit mind of like people are only valuable if they are deeply intelligent, you know, or whatever they consider deeply intelligent. A person's value is only measured by their intellect, which is not the case. You know, they will subjectively, you know, they'll selectively make the argument here and there about, oh no, that's not the case. But that is ultimately what many of these things wind up being chalked to, is that. So, but I mean, that's not even to say that the characters in this movie seem dumb. It's just that they're very nice, you
Yeah.
know.
That's it. They're very it's very wholesome.
It's a wholesome film.
It's very non-threatening. It's very non, like there's not much of a not much happens. It's just a way of showing the Uncle Remus's stories, which is I think 3 segments of the animation, and in between you have a very basic, uh, little boy that gets into, he doesn't even get into trouble. It's very a very basic non-offensive story, and if you're able to just disconnect from any portrayal that is not, kissing their feet is offensive, then you'll enjoy it because it's an enjoyable short. It's like what, like 90 minutes. And I really enjoyed the animated segments with the humans too. It looks a lot better than things like the what was that Brendan Fraser Looney Tunes movie
Oh
that came
God,
out
Looney
in
Tunes
like
back in action. People
yeah,
love to make the argument. That's actually a good movie. Joe
yeah,
Dante's Looney Tunes back in action
yeah, I'm
was
sure.
was the better Looney Tunes, but like it was a competition with fucking Space Jam.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
So
for the time also, like I don't know, I was very surprised at how much I tried to get offended by it and how I couldn't find anything offensive and couldn't understand why anyone would find uh offense into it unless their brain has rot because of exposure to modern day politics on the internet. And after reading Letterboxd reviews, those are the people that are still against this movie. It's just people that have very weird sensitivities for very selective stuff because it's not even consistent. It's not like they're outraged about consistent things. It's not like it's very picking at things that they will get offended by, and it's just a very stupid exercise of again applying modern day divisive politics into something that has absolutely nothing to do with that.
yeah, the only thing that caught my eye here in terms of the racial angle was the Tar Baby sequence, but that was only because. And here's the thing, I thought Tar Baby was just a racial slur, but no, there are Tar Babies like scarecrows, and
Oh,
so
I
that came
didn't.
first. I never knew that. So
Yeah, I didn't even link that to racism at all. I just thought, yeah, that's isn't that how they make scarecrows?
yeah, that's no, that you're exactly right.
Okay.
So there's nothing to that either.
Yeah.
On a subject completely unrelated to the racial politics of it, I really enjoyed the scene where the little girl's dress gets messy because of the boy, and then he tries to like help, and he just makes it worse
Yeah.
after it was worked on all day right before. That was great.
Or
I thought this movie
them.
was very funny for a 1946 children's film. It was
Yeah.
I laughed a lot during this.
The bullies were funny, calling him a
Yes.
girl because he's wearing like a frilly
Yeah.
thing that his grandma did. It was very Little Rascals, like very non-offensive, very just wholesome 1940s thing. I'm still kind of like, oh fuck you. If you find this offensive, I'll go fucking you go be miserable. Like who cares? Like it's such a non-offensive movie. Yeah, it's frustrating, I guess,
Can
because
you?
that's
What I'm imagining right now is someone probably clicked on this. If you've never heard this podcast before, and you're just like doing a Disney maybe you're a big Disney head, you're a Disney adult, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna treat myself to something a little dodgy today. I'm gonna listen to this Song of the South retrospective podcast, and every other podcast talking about this movie will probably give you the NPR. Yeah. So this didn't age well. And I'm very glad we're on the same page here that Song of the South is pretty harmless.
yeah. I think
Should
I
we have brought
would
Luke on to do this episode?
um I mean, I'm sure he has a similar opinion on it.
Oh
Um
no, I have no question. But there's another adaptation of the Brer Rabbit tale called, and maybe we'll do this someday because maybe we were talking a while back about doing a Ralph Bakshi retrospective.
hmm,
Coonskin.
yeah.
Have you ever seen Coonskin?
I'm familiar with it, but I've never seen it, no.
I haven't seen it either. I think it's on YouTube in its entirety. Philip Michael Thomas from Miami Vice is the lead character in that movie. So I love Ralph Bakshi, but I'm not as well versed on him as I would like to be. And I think his Fritz the Cat adaptation is wonderful. And I
Cool.
like the Fritz sequel, even though he had nothing to do with it. A lot of people don't like that Fritz sequel. I think it's pretty decent.
What do you think of Cool World?
Cool World is a movie I only saw in the mid 90s, so I couldn't give you a real opinion on it. But I remember finding it very peculiar and not being a fan of it.
Yeah, that was on my HBO when I was a kid here all the time, before I even knew who Brad Pitt was or anything. And I would watch it. I don't remember a lot of it other than Brad Pitt wanting to bang the blonde drawing. But
Yeah, it
but
felt
maybe
too close to Roger Rabbit for
yeah.
my liking, and it didn't have enough of the fun overlap to that. So I never took to it, but I would be interested in maybe checking it out now and seeing if that opinion has adjusted at all.
Yeah. We could do that in Coonskin one episode.
We could do that. That wouldn't be bad. Have you checked out anything else of his? I checked out his Lord of the Rings, and I enjoy that. I enjoyed it more than the Peter Jackson Lord of the
Oh wow.
Rings.
No, I've never I don't think
That's not saying much though. I don't like Lord of the Rings.
I used to, but I refuse to rewatch it just because of how long they are.
Mhm.
I remember trying to watch the extended version when those came out, and some of my friends went to see the three in the theater, just be fucking 14 hours in the theater watching the three. Um, I just like I feel like those are fine, but it's very difficult for me to commit to watching a 3.5 hour movie that I've already seen. So I couldn't.
You can't do it. You can't do. You gotta
No,
be selective with your time, especially when you're doing this show.
I was yeah, I was a fan when they came out. Let's just leave it at that, I guess.
I just realized now Ralph Bakshi had something to do with the Ren and Stimpy adult party cartoon.
Oh,
That's a shameful
oh,
one.
oh no. Spider-Man
Yeah,
from
he's got a few
68.
on there that he probably just like helped do animation for. But Ren and Stimpy adult cartoon party was 2005 or something like that. That was pretty late. So it couldn't have just been that. He had a giant career behind him at that point. So I don't
Uh,
know. We'll do a Ralph Bakshi show
oh,
at
Mighty
a time in the
Mouse.
future.
I
I
love
know
Mighty Mouse.
Dakota wanted to do a R. Crumb movies episode, but I think he did that already for Anthony's show, for Cisco's show. So that ain't happening.
But didn't we cover Crumb already, the documentary?
Maybe.
Or we watched it and never did an episode? Because I remember I watched that gross documentary. It
No, we
made me feel
definitely
dirty.
watched it. We planned for it, and maybe we were gonna do it, and then after we recorded the episode, we were like, we hardly talked about Crumb. Maybe it's actually
Right.
Hateful Eight Part Two or something
Maybe.
along those lines. I don't think we did a proper R Crumb episode. And also, if Dakota did a Crumb episode with us already, and then he did one for Cisco's show, that's kind of
Weird.
gauche. You know, that's not. Why would you do that?
Yeah. Oh, Heavy Traffic. Are you familiar with Heavy Traffic?
Heavy Traffic. I am familiar with the title of. I haven't watched it though. There's quite a few films of his I have not seen. I saw. Here's what I've seen from Ralph Bakshi. I've seen Fritz the Cat many times. I have seen Lord of the Rings. I've seen American Pop, and I've seen Wizards. I think. Yeah, I saw Wizards.
Wizards looks cool visually. Never seen it.
His
What's American?
animation style is very different from the norm. It's actually very traditional in that he would shoot something with actors and then animate over that in accordance to it. So
Hmm.
that's it seems like a very straining process to do, but
I'm surprised you haven't seen it. Hey, Good Looking, because it seems to be like a New York movie.
they're all New York. I mean, I think they're all New York movies.
Oh, okay.
Fritz the Cat is very New York. Lord of the Rings is very New York. No, yeah, no, I don't know. I guess I need to catch up. We'll do one later on down the road. But speaking about animation, what about Wilfred Jackson, the director of Song of the South? How about his career? How about all the films he directed, huh? Dumbo, Alice in Wonderland, Lady and the Tramp, Peter Pan, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Fantasia.
Yeah, Fantasia. That was one I was thinking about going back to recently because that one always spooked me as a child. I never liked
Uh,
Fantasia when I was a kid, both because I was bored and it just seemed spooky. It just seemed
what
dark.
was? Oh, that just the darkness of it and the L.
There was like a creepy devil or something, but I remember it just kind of being boring because it was all music and I hated music as a kid.
Mm.
I just really didn't like music at all. I like silence.
You just wanted to be left alone, no
Yeah.
sound. Uh, I confuse Fantasia with that that Dumbo scene where he gets high or something, and then it's just like I don't remember if he gets high, but there's like a very visual scene on Dumbo where something similar to that happens. Or maybe I might be misremembering them because I haven't seen them in like 30 years. But yeah, I would be down for checking out Fantasia if you want. Um,
We'll see about that. Did you see any of the Disney live action remakes? Because I watched the Tim Burton
no,
Dumbo.
no. And what? I have a friend that worked on that.
You do? Oh yeah. Well, you know
Yeah.
a lot of people. It seems like who work in the Disney visual effects department.
Yeah. I wouldn't say friends, I guess, because we don't really talk anymore. But
Oh,
but
because they listen to this show.
maybe. I don't know. Maybe because they also worked on Marvel stuff and we haven't really been that kind to those movies.
No, we really have not. You know, I think there are two episodes in the entirety of the series where Marvel movies are discussed, and it was Avengers, the last two Avengers movies, the two
That are,
parter, and it was just
yeah.
me lamenting that I spent money the first time and that I even bothered watching a stolen copy the second time. I said, why did I do? I knew what I was in for. I knew
Yeah.
exactly what I was going to get here. They'll never fool me again. And then I
We were
watched the second one.
we were the only uh review on YouTube that it was not 1000% positive with those movies, I
Hmm.
think.
Yeah,
Because everyone was just so like you're not even allowed to criticize it, and I was just like, shit, it's fucking boring. Like this didn't really do
it's
anything for
really
me.
fucking dull. They
Yeah.
suck. They suck. And I'm glad that it looks like Marvel and I mean all the companies really are suffering right now. They have no choice but to make some sort of an arrangement with the actors and the writers because they're going to be even worse off without them. You know, it looks
Would
like the
they?
writers. Yeah,
Would
I think so. With the actors for certain. The
the
actors are
actors?
more
Yeah.
important, and
Yeah.
they didn't prioritize the actors. They prioritized the writers. Maybe that one's an easier one, but
Yeah, they could just hire other people to write. But I guess the actors are pushing for the same untalented people that have made all of these movies that have been losing money for
I
what,
would
10
be
years?
very curious to see what the actual terms of the agreement are because they could be nothing at all like what the writers requested. And the writers might be behind closed doors, the guild might be like, oh, fuck. You know, they're going to turn on us any day now. And we can't have that. So let's act excited about these terms. Oh, we're not going to get anything, but you're going to give us like an extra credit. You're going to give us an extra $1,000 annually from whatever, you know, it could be something along those lines. So
Well, because if you think about it, like, has this year been worse than last year or the year before when it comes to the things that have come out? I think it's been pretty same, you know. We've had some decent movies and a lot of garbage just like last year or like the year before. So this holdout, I don't think has worked as well as they thought when it comes to if you don't do what we want, you're going to lose all the quality that we've been putting out because they haven't been. So yeah, I guess good. I just hope that other sources come out from this so that people don't have to depend on that industry for producing shit, and instead with how quote unquote easy it is now to have your own equipment or just like do things independently, that becomes more of a scene that it has been, instead of having to depend on a big studio to do anything.
yeah, I don't think that's any of that's going to change. I think it's going to be the same thing as it has always
uh
been.
well, shit.
Yeah.
Well,
So anyway, we're gonna cut this episode short. Sorry, guys, but we have to record an episode of. You want to give the title name?
bang.
Yeah, that's a new variation of that. We're gonna be recording a new episode of that, our sister podcast, which you can subscribe to right now, and please rate on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Just type in B dash bang, and if you want to throw in a low res or a Hans after that, then that should narrow the field down greatly. But in the meantime, go to patreon.com/lowres, subscribe to the $5 tier. We are going to be doing more shows coming up. What do we got lined up next?
For movies.
Yeah, we got to be strategic with. We got 3 episodes, I think, or 4 episodes until episode 300. So
Oh yeah, what was the
I think we were
fuck?
gonna finally put a cap on the Cartoon Network movies, but I can't find the Samurai Jack animated film compilation anywhere online. I really don't want to buy the videotape of it.
Well, I'm definitely not gonna pay for it.
We're
So
gonna have to get you a VCR and a videotape so you can watch it as intended by the creator.
yeah, I'll work my uh expert pirate fingers to try to find it.
You should
Um
edit your own version of it.
just download the well, we could also just download the episodes. I'm sure that would be
Yeah, that ain't the
easier.
same. That's not the same at all. Listen, you watch the Family Guy movie, and then you watch the 3 Family Guy episodes that the movie got split up from.
I didn't watch
That
that
ain't the
one.
same. You didn't watch the Family Guy movie? That was
No.
a big thing. That was a big thing
Oh.
in 2004 or so when
What
Family
the
Guy was canceled.
Star Wars Family
No,
Guy?
no, God, no. Those were unwatchable. They didn't even make jokes in those movies. It was literally just verbatim Seth MacFarlane doing Star Wars with his characters. It was never a more pathetic display.
Yeah. Um oh,
It was the Stewie episodes where he's an adult and he goes to the future.
okay. I don't know. I never was a huge fan. It's funny, but
When did you bow out on Family Guy?
I was never it was not a show that I would watch regularly. I think there was a lot of reruns, so I would just catch them once in a while, but thankfully you don't really need to watch regularly. So I didn't have the same uh I like shows like King of the Hill a lot more, I guess, for that time. So I
Why?
was not
I never understood the appeal of King of the Hill, to be honest with you. I have tried watching that and it doesn't resonate with me at all.
it's there's something about the characters that I guess at that period of time I was very fond of somehow, but I thought it was funny. I thought it was very ho- compared to things like Beavis and Butthead that are so outrageous and so to one side, like unbelievable. Like this more wholesome look at like the South of the United States, even if it's a caricature. Something about the way that those characters interact was appealing to me, and I thought it was funny. I liked Bobby and I liked Hank, so and also the cast of losers that were his friends. Maybe I could identify with that a little bit too. So I don't know. I that was more heavy on rotation at the time than Family Guy for me.
Are you just a big Mike Judge fan?
I was, but I've been afraid of checking out any modern Beavis and Butthead just because I checked out the first revival and
The one from what was it, 2007 or so?
something like that. Yeah. I think I even got the DVDs before I learned that the music segments wasn't in was not were
Man,
not in them.
that thing is fucking me up with Northern Exposure because for the DVD box set, they removed a lot of the pop music for that series because they couldn't license it, and I didn't know that. And then I watched some old uploads on archive.org of a couple of episodes, and it changes the whole vibe completely of the show when
Hmm.
you have 90s music hanging out in the background of a bar scene and it's not there in the series.
It's
The
not Third Eye
Apprentice.
Blind anymore.
No, no, well, that's a little too late. That's the late 90s. It's more like
Okay.
Chris Isaacs or something.
All right.
Yeah, no, and that ruined the Apprentice DVD box set for me, even though it opens up and he says you're fired every time. They got rid of the OJs, uh, the theme song to The Apprentice, and replaced it with some generic stock music shit, like the worst song in the history of the world. And it kills the whole, like something like that is so paramount to the character of the series. You can't just scrap that. You can't just avoid doing the iconic music thing. So, Beavis and Butthead, where the whole thing was they're commenting on music videos.
Yeah. Like the
Why would
animated
you?
segment, the animated segment were funny, but you would never watch the Beavis and Butthead for the story. You watched because you wanted to see them shit on shitty music
Yeah,
videos.
what was the
Or
story anyway? What they skip school and comment on
yeah,
how like ugly a girl is, and that's
yeah,
then they go sit down on the couch.
yeah. They work at a burger place and they're bad at their job, and that's the funny. They keep going to the bathroom and they don't work, and then there's a line that forms outside of the restaurant. Yeah, you
Yeah,
just wanted,
so why would you want that? I
you
mean,
just wanted to see them get excited about a shitty fucking rat video or like or like a Pantera song and see how they would react to that or something really like homoerotic and how they would react to that. That was the whole appeal of it. So when and this was before you could find information on the internet as easy as now. So I, as soon as they put them out on DVD, I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna buy this and watch it. And then I was like, wait a second, why is there no music in this? What? It's just the animated segments back to back and kind of
Doesn't
soured.
hit the same way.
No,
No, no, of course
no,
not. All right. Well, you know, the Beavis and Butthead movie for Paramount Plus was okay. There's at least
I
that,
haven't
I
seen
guess.
it.
It's all
I
right.
haven't seen that.
Well, that's been movies for this week. Thank you guys for listening. And again, please join us over on patreon.com/lowres for exclusive episodes of the show that are coming up. And we'll see you there.